Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're looking at back balance. This is a gorgeous move. It's really important also for aerial hoop choreography, especially dynamics, but it can be tricky to get into it. Placing the hoop in the right place on your lower back is essential for a good solid back balance, but that all depends on your transition into it. So today we're going to talk about 3 simple transitions into back balance from 3 different positions. And hopefully these will all be really useful additions to your aerial hoop vocabulary. But first, I'll just remind you to please do take a minute to subscribe because it's really helpful for me with the YouTube algorithm, and it's helpful for you that you don't miss any of the tutorials that I'm putting out all the time. And giving this video a thumbs up if you feel so inclined would be really helpful as well. We're not going to do pro tips today, but I am just going to do a quick reminder of where to put the hoop on your lower back. I like it slightly below my tailbone. With that placement, I can really squeeze my glutes and hook myself onto the bar of the hoop. Okay, for our first and most basic transition into back balance, today we're going to start by walking our feet forward and moving your hips forward as you walk your legs. You can see that each time I do a walking step motion with each leg, I'm scooting that hip slightly forward. I'm also going to use my arms to pull up slightly, taking my weight into my arms. So I'm able to lean my shoulders back, reach up with one leg, then the other, and wrap my foot around the span set. As I do this, I'm scooting my hips even more forward. That's really the theme of this transition, is scooting those hips forward. I'm dropping my hands down slightly, and I'm using my hands to pull the hoop slightly higher onto my lower back, coming into that good placement just below my tailbone. From here, I can start to find my balance because the hoop is already in the correct place for my full back balance. I'm also engaging my abs, a vital part of any back balance. And when I'm ready, I can drop down, first one leg, find my balance with the first leg, and then drop down the other leg. Remember to drop your head backwards. I know that feels counterintuitive because you want to lift up your head to look at what's happening with your body, but that's going to, first off, make your position look more beautiful. Secondly, it's going to make you more balanced and controlled because the weight of your head is counteracting the weight of your legs, which are generally heavier than our torso/head. I'm squeezing my abs, I'm squeezing my glutes, and I'm able to take off my hands, coming into my full back balance. I like to do back balance with one leg bent, one leg straight, because I think it's a really pretty position this way. If you want to do a more technical, challenging back balance, you can try to straighten both legs and glue them together so they're both sticking straight out the back of the hoop. That's a slightly more challenging back balance. Okay, transition number 2. We're going to go from a star on the bar into back balance. So of course I have to start by transitioning into my star on the bar. We've already talked about this transition a couple of times on the channel, but I'll just review it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. The way I prefer to go into star on the bar is to do a big rond de jambe, or circle of my leg, around the side of the hoop, keeping the leg close to the hoop, lifting up my hip as my leg goes around and scooting that hip forward. Does that sound familiar? As my leg comes down to the side. Then I do exactly the same motion with the opposite leg. I'm scooting my hands down the sides of the hoop so I can lean my shoulders even farther back. And I do the big rond de jambe all the way around, again lifting that hoop, scooting the hips forward. By the time I finish the second leg, my tailbone should be on the bottom of the hoop. The placement of the bottom of the hoop for your star on the bar should be almost identical to the placement of the bottom of the hoop for your back balance. I'm taking a moment here to take my hands off, do some beautiful positions with my arms. Remember that in star on the bar, even though we're using this as a transition today, you should still try to have your knees pointing down towards the ground. Also, you should feel nice and safe and locked into the hoop. If you don't, it's probably because your hips are too far forward in the hoop and you need to move the bar of the hoop closer to your tailbone or higher up your back. Now for the transition, I'm reaching back up with my hands. I'm placing them nice and high on the hoop, but I don't lift my shoulders to place them as high as possible. I'm just reaching as far as I can with straight arms. I swing one leg around to the back behind me, and then I swing the other to come back as well. Coming into that back balance, like I said, the placement of your hoop is basically the same in your star on the bar and in your back balance. So there shouldn't be too much of a transition here. It's kind of just moving your legs. Again, I'm squeezing my abs and I'm taking my hands off and I'm in my back balance. And our third transition today is going to be from Gazelle. Now I know Gazelles can be a little intimidating if you're a beginner student and you haven't got your flat split yet, but you really don't need it. What you need is good placement. So even if your legs are in a V or if you're bending your front leg to compensate for not having that full split, you can still do this move. You just need to be placed well. There's a tutorial already for Gazelles on my channel and I will link it at the top of the screen. Just be sure you're keeping the side of your torso close to the side of the hoop, and that you have the hoop nicely in that hip crease between your hip and your front leg. In this version of Gazelle, I'm going to keep my front foot in my hand. If I'm bending my front leg, I can put my hand on my knee. I reach back around with my free arm and take the hoop between my back leg and my hip. You'll see that little pocket of light right there with space for my hand in it. Next, I let go with my front arm. I place my hand just above my front leg. And I'm going to pull up with both arms, lifting my hip so I can slide it over the bottom bar of the hoop, coming to place the hoop on that tailbone area that's my sweet spot for my back balance. From there, it's pretty simple. I'm just going to, once again, use my abs to support my back and keep my balance as I let go with both hands. Also notice that in all of these back balances, I am keeping my feet nicely pointed. Not only will this look prettier and lengthen the line of your legs, making the whole position more beautiful, but it's actually going to help you technically because when I point my foot, it engages the muscles of my leg and helps me stay in my back balance. Here are all three of our transitions again, so you can see how they work in real time. The first, of course, is going from your feet on the span set, just dropping those feet down. Remember, pushing your legs down can also help counterbalance the weight of your torso if you feel like you're falling backwards. Next up, star on the bar, replacing those hands after doing some beautiful arm movements and bringing my legs around to the back. And finally, of course, the Gazelle, just making sure that I use those arms to really pull my hips up and over the bar so I can come into the good placement for my back balance. And I'll remind you one more time before I go to please subscribe and like this video. And with that, I will see you guys next time.